This next question could be interpreted a couple different ways, but I'm gonna try to frame it in this way. How come I continue to struggle with freedom though I'm a Christian? And I'm gonna read that as, in my freedom, I'm not experiencing the life that I expected to have in Christianity. A second question was something like this. Why does the American church look nothing like the Acts church? And I'm going to ask this question this way. Is there something that the early church knew about spiritual formation, about becoming like Christ, that is largely absent from our understanding as the church in the current time?
Well, I think the way we're going about doing church and doing growing has necessary but not sufficient elements in it. Now let me explain that. It's necessary that we hear the word taught, it's necessary that we meet for fellowship, and it's necessary that we get opportunities for extravagant worship on a regular basis. These are crucial things, but they're not enough. The church is not producing people that are radically different than the people in the culture because it's not going about its business the right way. And it's not that it's doing the wrong things, it's that it's failing to do some of the right things. And one of the things that has been lost is that the essence of Christian growth resides in habit formation. Habit formation. Training people how to form new habits and get rid of bad habits. I'll give you an example. I may have shared this. I don't know if I did. But I have a... Did I share that I have a mental illness? Did I mention that I have a mental illness?
No.
I have a mental illness that I inherited predisposition for from my mother's side of the family that wiped out that side of the family. And my daughter's got it. She looks like me, and my other daughter looks like my wife doesn't have it. It's called generalized anxiety disorder. And I'm highly prone to panic attacks and to various kinds of anxiety. Well, one of the things I've realized is that anxiety is a habit that has become grooved in my brain. And what I have to do to get rid of it is A, take medication, and B, find ways to regroove good habits over the bad habits. And that means presenting my brain to God as a living sacrifice every day. Okay? Now, how would you go about getting rid of the bad habits that are ingrained in my neurons in my brain? Because remember, Paul says to present your body as a living sacrifice and the members of your body, and that's because sin resides in the body. Sin consists of bad habits that reside in the body, all right? Just like golf sin would be bad habits at playing golf that reside in your shoulders and your wrists. So sin is a set of habits that reside in different parts of your body. Tendencies toward anxiety reside in the brain. Now, I'm going somewhere with this, so just stay with me. If you're going to help teach people to get rid of their anxiety and depression, you have to teach them how to present their brain to God as a living sacrifice. Now, this is probably, it could be wrong, but this may be the first time you've ever heard that. And some of you have been Christians for 50 years, and you've never heard that kind of language before. That's the problem. That's the problem. Because that's how you get rid of lust. That's how you get rid of anger. That's how you replace them with peace and joy. You don't will these things to happen. You don't learn about them and sing a bunch of great music to get yourself pumped up to have the fruit of the Spirit in you. You've got to go about habit formation. And there are ways of doing this that have been tested and tried, but the churches don't know anything about this. And there are specific things that you can do with your brain on a daily basis that after a 5-month period of time will help get rid of the bad habits of anxiety and depression and help replace them with good habits. I'll give you one example. The leading expert in the United States on gratitude is a professor of psychology at UC Davis. He's done more empirical research on gratitude than any living person, and he's published more on it than anybody. Turns out he's a Christian. And he came to Biola to lecture, and he's written 2 books on gratitude, and he made the point that people who regularly express gratitude are more mentally healthy than people who are optimistic and people who have hope in life. That if you had to pick one of the 3, you'd give up hope in life and give up optimism, but practice gratitude. Now, you'd like to have all 3. Now, how do you practice gratitude? Well, there are several ways. You can use a gratitude journal. You write a gratitude letter to somebody and read it to them once a month. But you express gratitude to God 5, 6, 7 times a day, even if you don't feel like it. That is presenting your brain to God, because you're forcing your neurons to look at the world gratefully. And if you keep forming that habit, which takes about 4 to 5 months, then you will eventually start developing a grateful outlook instead of being a sourpuss like I typically am. And so, does the church teach you how not to be a sourpuss? Or a half-empty? No. Why? Because we don't know how to do it. Why don't we know how to do it? Because we're out of touch with the literature that the church has had for 2,000 years. That's combined with contemporary writings to recapture how you go about growing as a Christian. And I think that's the one problem. The other one, and I'll say it in 10 seconds, is that the early church did not have a worldview of naturalism that stifled their belief in prayer and demons and things like that. Today, we don't believe in demons. We do doctrinally, but we don't really. And we don't believe in angels. We barely believe in God. Dallas Willard says most of the people in our churches believe in Jesus, but they don't believe there's a God. And I think he's right. I don't think most of the people in our churches actually believe in God.